Those are good classes. You may not do for right up because I'm still, you know, they stick. Yeah. Yeah. I had you
Yeah, we're trying to, because of Zoom. So if you feel the urge to look at the camera, it's that.
Right in the back of your head.
How long have you been in? How long have you guys been in?
I've been at 6 times.
How old are you? Sound like which time have you started?
I have no idea.
You're in and you have no idea how long. How old are you? How old are you?
I guess not 3 years.
How old are you now?
I'm 9.
So since you were 6.
No, since I was in
Kindergarten?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been about 6, right?
5, yeah.
5 years.
5? How long have you been in?
I've been in since Tagger, which is 1st grade, and I was at 4.
3 years now. For you guys.
For this gym.
Scouting 11 years now. How about 11 years? That's amazing.
Been a senior patrol leader.
5 years.
Oh, wow. 5. Good for you. Just nice having you. Gives us some comfort.
You're the ones who should.
Good. You all right, Greg? Yeah. All right, so, once we say go. You good? Yep. All right, so if we can stand for a moment of silence and a pledge to the flag.
Absolutely.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Cuccio? Here. Mr. DeFreitas?
Here.
Mr. Hagan?
Here.
Ms. Lentz?
Here.
Mr. Kennedy?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Ms. Reiner?
Here.
Ms. Turner?
Here.
Ms. Wick? Here. 9 present.
Thank you. We did have a closed session prior to the meeting for a personnel. And I do not think we will need a closed session after.
I don't believe so.
All right. So that covers that. Under board reports, foundation.
Yeah, the Marsh Planet Foundation met here in the boardroom back on February 15th. During that meeting, the size of the board was increased to 11 total members. We also welcomed 5 new board members: Stacey Palmer, Amy Riggio, Jen Stuber, Doug Wolf, and Beth Ziegler. Had elections, and our 2022 officers are President Kevin Hagan, Vice President Carol Knox, Treasurer Amy Riggio, and Secretary Tricia Holland. We heard a grant request from Mr. Trillo for a new 3D printer for Centennial STEAM Classroom. Our foundation actually awarded enough funds for him to purchase 2 3D printers at the cost of about $1,500.
Oh, great, you got some new members. I know you've been searching. Any other board reports? No tech?
No.
No municipalities, nothing? Perfect. Student council, I do not see student council. Oh, man. Megan, sorry. Megan.
No report, thank you.
I just responded. No, no.
I'm just playing.
It's wonderful. You can-
Is there any student council on Zoom? I assume they'll be here next week. They're usually here for a second. So we'll move on to public comment on agenda items only. So at this point, we'll take a public comment on agenda items only. Which means we have to have on the agenda, which was speak for. Public comment in general is at the end. So if you want to, is there anyone wish to have public comment on agenda items in the room? Seeing none, we'll move on to Zoom. Is there anyone on Zoom that wish to have public comment on agenda items at this point?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, could you say your name, your address, and what agenda items you're referring to, and you have 3 minutes.
Yeah, hi, it's Julia Konitsky, 2006 Maxwell Lane in Mars. I was going to speak on, I'm not sure if you're voting on tonight, but I was going to speak on the policies that were up for adoption. Policy 810.2 and I'm sorry, policy number 216, student records. Before you vote on these, have you considered what I talked about the other time, and I wasn't sure, maybe the solicitor would be able to help. You changed audio. I agree with 810.2 with the policy on transportation, audio, video recording, but you put in category C, audio and visual recordings. You listed it there under the in the other policy 216 student records. Have you found out if that was like a violation of parents' rights or FERPA for those children with, especially those with IEPs that have transportation and video cameras on their transportation now as part of their student record and a part of their IEPs?
Dr. Gross and I took a look at that, and those only become student records if they're saved and used for disciplinary purposes. So we're comfortable with the language in the policy.
Okay, so if not even for discipline purposes, if you needed to have that as a review, because, you know, especially design instruction is transportation. For example, in my son's IEP begins from driveway to driveway. His IEP starts. So I have a right to inspect his educational record, which would be category, not C, it would be B, where his IEP would fall in there for me to inspect his records, behavior plans, 504s. I just feel like if it's put in category C, it makes it very hard for parents. Well, actually, it's not even legal. It's federally not legal to put it there, I would think. I wasn't sure. FERPA records are special education documents, and in his document is his special education transportation, and there are cameras on that. So I should be able to pull that to see if the data collection that they're using to make a decision for the transportation, yay or nay, can be used. I mean, the teachers, we should all as a team be able to pull that as part of his IEP team.
We'll take a look at your individual situation.
And Julie, depending on the, and you're absolutely right, depending on the IEP and the specific student,
Right.
it could fall into the educational records piece. So obviously federal legislation always trumps any local policy. So that type of situation be dealt with on a case-by-case basis based on the IEP.
So do you think
you really don't
you
want to
should
discuss your child's IEP meeting in a public meeting?
No, I'm not. I'm saying anybody with an IEP. No. Any student who has an IEP who has specially designed instruction with transportation. So anybody can. So I was wondering if you could put, in addition, like number 18 can be, you know, under free and reduced lunch application and IEPs. Can you add audio visual recordings of those students with IEPs? Like all of be doing would be adding language, not being more restrictive. which is what Pennsylvania Supreme Court established school surveillance videos, whether recording the interior of a school bus or school grounds, are public records. Images of students are not subject to disclosure under FERPA, but they're saying you have to blur out the other students. So I think you're not doing a service by putting it in category C. I think you should also include it and consider in the language to move it to that other category is what I'm saying. I'm not trying to discuss my individual child. I'm an advocate for all students with IEPs.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Your time has been up. I let you go a little bit. I appreciate your comment, and we'll continue to look into it.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else wish to have public comment on agenda items only at this point on Zoom? Is there anyone else wish to have public comment on agenda items on Zoom? Seeing none, we'll move on to the agenda. So next week we will look to approve the minutes. This week on the main agenda, can I have a motion to approve under personnel is number 1 through 10?
Megan, so moved.
Justin, second.
Do I have a first and second board discussion comments? Seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That carries. On the main agenda, under personnel number 11, can I have a motion to table?
Kevin, so moved.
Anthony, second.
So I have a first and second. Or questions, comment? I see none, so all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So motion carries. So on the main agenda, under personnel is numbers 12 through 15. I have a first and a second.
Justin, so moved.
Sally, second.
I have a first and a second. Board discussion, comments?
Congratulations to those retiring.
A bit of retired. Any other board questions, comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
That carries. Informational next week, we will talk about number 1. On the main agenda under finances, number 1 through 14, we will consider next week. Moving on to programs, on the main agenda, can I have a motion to approve number 1?
Megan, so moved.
Kevin, second.
So the first and second, board questions, comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That passes. Policies we'll consider next week, 1 through 3. Under buildings and grounds, can I have a motion to accept number 1?
Anthony, so moved. Justin, second.
Board questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So that carries. So under others, on the main agenda, number 1, can I have a motion?
Kevin, so moved.
Anthony, second.
For discussion, comments?
Thank you so much, Seth.
Yes.
Discussion for their very kind donation.
Looks like we're gonna get 600 phone book cases out of that. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. First was going to hand a second CP.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay. I said aye. I'm gonna strike that for him.
We're not gonna allow that one getting money. That's your decision. We'll try that again. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you very much. I just pretended I was at the forum. And then we have some other business under other. Can I have a motion to add to the agenda?
Yes, I'd like to add a motion to the agenda to accept the proposal from Amy Schaefer to provide consulting services in the football coach hiring process at a cost of $1,200 plus mileage.
So we're making the motion now. I have the motion. I need a second.
The motion, just a motion
To add it to our agenda.
Megan, second.
Who was first?
Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin was first, Megan was second. This is to add it to the agenda. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Now it's on the agenda. Can I have a motion to accept the contract between Amy Schaefer for $1,200 of mileage.
After we make a motion, then I'll explain.
Well, that's, I need a first and a second.
Kevin, so moved.
Yeah, second.
I have a first and a second. Thank you. I thought, Chris, did you want to speak on this?
Yeah, I just want to give an update on why we're making this request. Obviously, our athletic director was the football coach here for many, many years. So we want to make sure we have a very pure process in the hiring of a football coach. So in order to protect him, he's our athletic director. In order to protect him, to keep him out of the limelight of who's hired, who's not hired. We're basically asking for a consultant to step in to help the district hire a football coach. And we've reached out to the university level. Amy Schaefer is from Teal College, which is up northwest and far enough away from Mars where we feel that it would be a neutral party. She has agreed at that rate of $1,200 to facilitate the interview process for us, to try to keep politics out of the hiring and also try to make sure it's a neutral party. So all the applicants get a fair shot. We had 23 applications for the position. Doc Mann, myself, and Ms. Brandstetter had a conference call with Amy when we were talking about fees. After she gave us that fee, I also discussed with her a timeline, and we certainly want to get this coaching position hired sooner than later. As we all know, any athletic program requires a lot of off-season activity. So the tentative timeline right now is we had 23 applications. We've scanned those to her as our consultant, and we are going to narrow that down to 6 to 8 semifinalists based on resume screening. We also have a committee internally of administrators and staff who will basically serve on the interview committee that Amy would be facilitating to help her with the interviews. So tentatively right now, we have a timeline of screening applications now, identifying 6 to 8 individuals to interview. I'll get that list from Ms. Schaefer on Monday of next week. I'm sorry, I'll get those by Friday of this week. And by Monday, I'll be sitting with our committee. We'll be doing our own internal screening to see if those screenings match up, if we can agree. And once we agree on those that we want to bring in, we'll have our first round of interviews, hopefully between March 14th and 16th. And we're not sure yet if they'll be Zoom or in person. I'd prefer in person, but depending on the location of who we select, we may have to do Zoom or a mix of both. So what we're hoping to do is announce to the board by March 17th, 2 to 3 finalists, hopefully 2. If it has to be 3, that's fine. March 17th, bring in finalists for a final round of interviews. And I've not talked to Amy in depth about what that final interview would look like yet. I haven't really confirmed with the board on exactly what the role of the board will be, if any. At a minimum, our committee with Ms. Schaefer will be interviewing finalists sometime in later March. And our goal would be to have a candidate recommended based on this hiring process by late March. So one of 2 things. If we're a few weeks away from the first board meeting in March, I may ask for a special board meeting just for the hiring of a football coach to get that program moving. But depending on where we are, if we're literally just a few days away from our first work session, we can certainly have a hire at the first work session. So I'll keep the board abreast of where we're at. Again, we had 23 applicants. We're going to plan to interview 6 individuals here within the next week and a half, and that'll get that process rolling with a final hiring recommendation to you by late March, first board meeting in April.
Will the new head coach also be hired on as a teacher or just strictly?
When we are interviewing for coaches, we're looking at strictly coach. I mean, I think education's one thing and coaching is another. So we really won't be giving any favor to someone, whether they have the ability to teach for us or not. I think the number 1 priority is just hire us a good football coach.
Can you share what Mrs. Schaefer's position is at Teal? Just if you
Yes, Mrs. Schaefer is the athletic director at Teal College, and my understanding is she had just gone through an interview process in recommending coaches, a coach for her own institution. And one of the reasons I want to clarify, we do have an athletic director. This process is a little different because our athletic director was the former coach, and I think it's only fair to him to keep him as far away from the process as possible so that that decision is not skewed either way for or against him, depending on who the candidate is. So it's certainly no discredit to our current AD. He could do this and do it quite well in hiring a coach for us. But just the fact that he happened to be the person vacating the position, I think it's best to do this through a neutral means and to keep him out of any negative or perceptual opinions that occur upon the hiring. So it just protects the district that we're doing this in a manner that's as pure as possible.
Any other board questions, comments?
I just want to remind everybody, we need to talk about the school.
Yeah, if we
Next meeting.
let us get a vote on this, and then we're going to talk about that.
I'm
Sorry, Jen. Any other questions, comments? So I have a first and second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That passes. Mr. Kuchar, you had a
Yeah,
comment?
just a reminder that we, at the next meeting, we just need to discuss the road behind the school and naming that road.
I guess, and what that looks like? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there. I know some schools have, it's not something we've done in the past, but as a revenue generating situation, there is the ability to allow local companies or institutions to buy naming rights to football fields, facilities, whatever it may be. So just throwing it out there.
Township road.
It is a township road.
It's
All right,
a township road.
strike that. Never mind.
It will be a township.
It will be a touch road. Never mind.
So,
In that case,
Yeah, the township's just
So-
looking for input. We don't get to name it. We can
so
at least.
one idea that we had discussed, was the possibility of doing a survey, coming up with like 4 names and then having, surveys sent out. So that's,
Maybe just to the students or the.
Yeah, someone suggested too, maybe having a contest with students to
Yeah.
come up with names.
Yeah, we did that for the PTO Alien, and there was a survey monkey, and everybody submitted a couple names, and we did our top 10, and the students loved it. They were able to get involved, and the parents too. And then they chose the name, and they were very proud of the name that they chose. I think involving the community and the students is probably the best way to go.
We'll put that on the agenda for discussion and a vote next week.
Excellent. Discuss the name of it.
And again, we're only making a suggestion to the township.
They may or may not.
They may or may not.
Don't like it. Do you guys want to help name a road? Does that sound cool?
yeah.
All right, any other board questions, comments? Moving on to the agenda, under public comment, open forum. At this point, I have 3 people who looks like signed up, Mr. Best, Aaron Best. So you'll have 3 minutes. It's not a question, answer, it's not a debate. So it's just, you can have your public comment. Yep. I need your name and address, and then you can have it.
Aaron Best, 204 Pinnacle Court, Winnipeg, 16059. I appreciate the time tonight, allowing me to talk on behalf of Mars Pac 413, many of who are here in attendance tonight. The purpose here tonight is to talk and provide public comment on a detailed email that I sent the board and Dr. Gross concerning our PAC status under the Mars Area School District Facilities Rental Policy. Scouts BSA PAC 413, by definition, is a non-profit civic recreational church-based group within this district's borders. This, by definition, is a Class C organization. For over a decade, the PAC 413 has rented the Mars Elementary School for 2 hours, 1 evening per month during the school year at a fee of $10 per hour. Last year, the policy changed and the fee increased to $15 an hour, which was certainly manageable. However, the issue is that the board also chose to institute at that time a 90% active membership residency clause. That is what leads us here to the issue tonight. We were originally asked to provide a roster to provide those addresses, to provide that percentage of membership. I believe that that new classification will now put us into the Class D, private individual or commercial use organization. Our PAC has 44 Mars Area School District students, and only 8 non-Mars students. Clearly on paper, we are a Mars organization. We are also chartered under Boy Scouts of America as the Mars Pack. Unfortunately, those numbers bear out to 86% Mars residents. This falls short of the 90% policy. Under the current policy, our pricing will now change to $135 per hour. Even at our peak membership of 72 Scouts before the pandemic, if you use the same number of non-Mars members, we would only rise to that 88% percentage. Anytime you have a Mars organization of 100 members, under 100 members, those non-members will always carry more weight against that organization's total. Most likely at a time, 90% threshold that you decided to use that probably sounds feasible to the board. I believe that number is too high. I also don't believe that the intent of the board was to when they revised these rules last year, was to impose these on these local organizations. At this time, I would like to respectfully ask the board to either reconsider the 90% membership or consider entering into an alternative lease agreement with our PAC at the $15 rate per hour, given our historical usage of the facility for so many years.
Thank you. Moving on to public comment. Powell?
Greg Powell, 1109 Illinois Place, Gibson, PA 15044. I was just gonna go on to what Aaron said there too. The kids really enjoy the local aspect of things. We use the elementary school; they have a lot of fun there, and really just ask that you would consider it for the kids. A lot of what they do on their own. They sell popcorn every year to make money to be able to do things like camping, and it goes to these fees that we need to use to get things authentic stuff. Just as a resident, I really wish you would consider it for it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Evans? Is it Ben?
Looks like Ben.
Yes,
Evan?
Ben Everson, sorry.
Evers.
My name is Ben Everson, from 295 Jersey Corner Road, Valencia, PA. So I've been scouting for 11 years. I started out in Cub Scouts in first grade, and I've now moved on to Boy Scouts, and I'm currently the senior patrol leader of my troop. So I believe that I have a decent say, or that I should have like a decent view on scouting and its effects. So over my time in Cub Scouts, I've made a lot of very fond memories, and I've learned a lot about how to be a good leader and a better young man. It's definitely helped me grow in virtue and confidence, and I believe it's almost made me who I am today. So I went to almost all of the PAC 413 meetings throughout my childhood, and from the Final Derby to just the regular monthly meeting. And that cafeteria was very helpful to us because it provided a very large space at a very reasonable cost. And I believe that by having that, which was like very centralized near all of our scouts who were mostly Mars PA, that by having that, it made scouting much more accessible to all of the scouts that were in scouting with me. Like, I know that my parents were very busy and had a working schedule, but that cafeteria was only 8 minutes from our house. So it was very easy for us to go there and then get back, and it didn't take much time out of our day. So when I was in Cub Scouts, I would go there for the Final Derby, which was one of my only memories that I still remember to this day. And that came from Cub Scouts at that elementary school. And that's pretty much all I have to say. I wanted to thank you for your time, and please ask that you consider our appeal, because Cub Scouts is a very important institution to many of the local youth. So I believe that this should probably be an exception. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room wish to have public comment at this point? I think we wait till. Sorry, go ahead.
My name is Sri Gaday. I live at 549 Juniper Court, Mars, PA. I am the PAC treasurer, and so I just want to talk about what this means for us. So it means moving from about $250 a year in rental fees to over $2,000. Our pack runs on about $10,000 a year. All of that popcorn sales, the dues that our scout pay, comes into about $5,000. 4,800 of that goes to the Marine Council, goes to the Boy Scouts. So the dues that our scouts pay doesn't go towards running our actual pack. The $10,000 is very important to us to run Pinewood Derby, Rain Gutter Regatta, pay for camping. We have a trailer, propane, food, all the things that it takes to run it. The $2,000 increase in what it would cost us to rent the facilities makes it somewhat unmanageable given the limited amount of funding that the shops receive. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room wish to have public comment at this point? I think it's not a question and debate, so I think we'll have more discussion here later on our agenda, so it may address your issues. Is there anyone on Zoom that wish to have public comment at this point?
Julie's up again.
Julie, I let you do once. Let me just double check, make sure no one else wants to have a public comment on Zoom first. Is there anyone else wish to have public comment on agenda or public comment open forum? Seeing none. Okay, Greg, with Julia, do you have another chance for public comment?
Hi, thank you. Julia Knitsky, 2006 Maxwell Lane in Mars. Thank you for the opportunity. The last thing I want to say about the policy, if you can add language possibly in that other category. We all know that like in IEPs, if it's not written, it's not there. I would hate to have someone down the road who actually needs this not be able to get access to it because it's in that other category. So by merely adding a line that states something about, I'm not sure, I'm sure your solicitor can help with the language, put it in that other category, then that might help alleviate some of the special ed concerns. Do you know what I'm saying? So if it's not written, then it's not going to be able to be, even 3 years from now, who's going to remember, oh, that was there. You'll just pull up the policy and say, no, audiovisual recordings are in category, D or whatever. So that's all I have to say about that. And I just wanted to ask, I know it's not a question and answer session, but are we considering still resurrecting Reading Rockets? Has that come up at all? Maybe you'll be talking about that, but I just wanted to also say how beneficial that was to a lot of students in the district who used it in the elementary school. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can answer. Yeah, it's still, Julie, it's still a staffing issue. We would love to run that. We just don't have the staff to run that yet. So we're still trying to explore options and get some more involvement in order to get that off the ground.
Just in the one building still, right? Is the issue. Right?
Yes.
So the other voting are still running.
The other voting still running it. Right?
But she's right. It's a great program. Our teachers did a phenomenal job with it. Just got to get enough folks to get off the ground again.
Is there any other public comment, either Zoom world or public and live?
Yeah, we got Bob Yeager.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we'll just need your name and your address and you'll have 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's Bob Yeager, 128 Love Road, Valencia, PA, 6059. Just very briefly, the folks sitting in that room right there, Aaron Best and all the others and the young boys that are sitting there, they're like family to this community, the Boy Scout organization. My son's a Boy Scout. He was in Pack 413 all the way up through elementary school and primary school. And I got to tell you that for these kids, the Boy Scouts isn't separate from the school. And when you increase the prices in this way for an organization that really battles tooth and nail to raise the funds that they need just to keep this program going for these boys, you could literally bring it to a screeching halt. And I think the last thing our community needs is for us to lose an organization like that because of something like a fee to have PAC meetings. Over the years, even when I was a kid, working with the Boy Scouts. The schools freely open their doors to the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts because they do so much community work. And these young men that are sitting in the front row looking at you right now, they get so much out of having those meetings at the school. And to increase a price like that would stop it dead in its tracks. I just wanted to thank Aaron and everybody else that was there and let you guys know that this isn't something that you want to do to this organization. You need it. Thanks.
Thank you. Last chance for public comment, either on Zoom or in person. Any other public comment at this point? Seeing none, we'll move on with the agenda. Is there a representative from MAEA? Assume on Zoom.
Sharon.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I would just like to say that I'm about to finalize the list of teachers who are going to take a board member to work. And that email with the list of teachers and their availability should be going out to Mrs. Wick within the next couple of days. Students and staff at the K-6 level have been enjoying Reading Across America this week, and especially the themes. The Morris Area Elementary teachers and students look forward to our open house on Thursday. It runs from 5:45 to 7:45. This is a great night for our students to shine and share their projects and give a tour of their building to their family. I would like to clarify something about Reading Rockets, however. It is not that teachers are unwilling to participate in Reading Rockets. It is more that we feel that we have had a lack of teacher input into the program. We would also like to see the addition of math added because we feel that this is definitely something that is needed in order to help support our students. Thank you very much for your time and have a good evening.
Thank you. Administration, Dr. Urs.
I have nothing additional.
Dr. McMahon.
Just a few things. First, we handed out our kindergarten registration packets as well as lottery tickets last week on Thursday and Friday. We started out on the tickets started on number 1, and even at the close of the day, we actually ended up on number 175. Adams Township Police pulled the starting lottery number, and that was number 84. So that lottery registration will be held. I'm sorry. Yes, right there. Yes. So the lottery registration will be held on March 18th in the Centennial Gymnasium. And we're stressing to parents once again, as we sign out a lottery ticket, it has a student's name connected to that lottery ticket. So when parents are coming forward, they must bring, we staple to the application registration packet, bring that same lottery ticket matching that student's name. Additionally, on the lines of pre-K, Dr. Gross and I have been going back and forth with as we try to bring normalcy back into our district coming back after COVID-19. We paused having a kindergarten preview. We typically have that in the month of February, and just with COVID numbers and things like that, so we completely put that on hold. But then in our conversations looking at moving forward into the spring, in the past we've had a watermelon welcome, and it was met with great reception, always a good turnout, and lots of positive feedback. So we're going to move forward with the watermelon welcome here in May, and we're looking at May 4th. It's going to be a Wednesday, and the reason for the Wednesday is just because when we do a watermelon welcome, we pull all of our kindergarten teachers out of the classroom. So we need to assure substitute teachers, and typically midweek we have better luck with substitute teachers versus a Thursday, Friday, Monday. So we are looking for May 4th to do a watermelon welcome, and we're excited about that. Please note, we're putting it out there ahead of time. We'll be reminding parents that it might put some congestion in our parking lot because we do get a lot of parents attending that pre-K event. So we're going to kind of tweak it a little bit, but there might be a little bit of congestion in the parking lot. for our elementary folks picking up and for our primary center picking up. But again, we'll keep kind of reminding and giving everybody a warning about that. So that's on the lines of kindergarten. And then additionally, just a shout out to Weaver Construction. Literally, when Debbie and Ryan and I, and of course, we were talking about budgets and looking at technology that we needed, and the cases that Weaver Construction purchased for us in the past, they're embroidered with a logo, the Mars logo, and they're really nice. They're just quality and they're very nice. We were talking about them in the price, and so I reached out to Bonnie Weaver and just asked her as a possible option of a donation. And within $10,000 just as an option, and within seconds she came back happy to help. Yes. So again, always generous, always kind, and greatly appreciated. We thank you for approving that tonight because it's going to take about 6 months for us to get here, just with everything backed up in the way it is right now. So again, thank you for being.
I always think it's so kind of Mrs. Weaver. It actually has the Mars logo, right?
Exactly.
It's not
There's
the
not-
Weaver Construction logo. I think that says a lot about her.
Correct.
It's not for advertising.
There's
for
zero
her company,
advertising
it's
on
to
it.
help kids.
And we've offered to have some, even a business card of hers to say, you know, hey, and she said absolutely not, just to put the Mars logo on it and then give it to the students. So again, thank you to the construction. Again, always generous and greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McMahon. Ms. Branstetter?
This past week we did a webinar on the new student online enrollment module that is available in our student management system. So we're going to be moving forward with getting more information, talking to some other school districts, and hopefully we'll be able to bring that to you in April for approval for next year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Branstetter.
Oh, can I share, I'm sorry, can I share one more? I completely
I don't like jumping around, but go ahead.
I'm sorry. We put out a survey regarding our high school graduation. So we put a survey out to senior parents and senior students and asked them to discuss with one another and just kind of seeking their feedback. And just so that the community is aware, the survey went out and we came back with 136 responses. Of those 136 responses, 85 or 62.5% were in favor of the non-traditional ceremony. So that would be in the parking lot sense of the high school. And then 51 response or 37.5 were in favor of the non-traditional response. So we're basically giving the graduation committee the go-ahead to keep planning for the graduation ceremony to take place in the parking lot of the senior high school.
Thank you. Ms. Branstetter, you want a second shot or anything?
Keep it even.
Mrs. Frable?
I don't have anything.
All right, thank you. Before we move on to board comment, I will say because of the new agenda laws and stuff, we really can't talk a lot about agenda items. We can't talk about the Boy Scouts and stuff this evening, but I would like to make a motion to put it on our agenda for next week. So if that's okay with the board.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll have discussion next week. It'll be on our agenda. With the new laws Pennsylvania put in place, we can't just openly talk about things. So I think if next week we put it on the agenda, we can have an open discussion then about.
So just discussion about the facilities use policy.
Yep.
Again, Dr. Fish, just, I know that was changed last year. So what was the previous percentage of our students that was required, and was that maybe talk to the group and ask, was it an issue before with outside organizations using the facilities? I mean, that's the intent, was that we reserve it for the people of the community. So
There was 75%, 75%, I believe.
It was 75.
yeah, maybe just check to see if it was an issue where we have trouble scheduling Mars-based groups versus that, and that might help us in the conversation.
I say when you get too deep of a conversation before.
Well, I did
we
request to
get
have it on the agenda tonight and was told no, that we could just discuss it.
Right, I
Via email.
I thought we were discussing it tonight as well.
Well, the solicitor informed me we can't.
I thought we could discuss it.
So I have to go vote with.
But under the new legislation,
Yeah.
gotta wait.
I'd like the discussion, but we will wait until, we've got 1 week, we'll discuss it
I
again.
just don't want to unfairly request that they come back when you're like young kids.
I'd like to see the Boy Scouts, these young men are
what's
amazing.
Well, I just assume that these people have other things
Throw
to
them.
do. Yeah.
They can jump on the Zoom world and enjoy that if they don't want to attend in person. We offer both ways.
We'll gather some information from the board.
Yeah.
So that
So now we can move on to board comments, questions, or comments. What side wants to start?
I'll start.
Perfect.
You good? I just want to say I'm really proud of you boys for you young men for being here and having the courage to come, because especially to speak. You know, I did Girl Scouts when I was growing up, so I'm really proud that you came here to represent your pack. Okay.
Echo the same thoughts as a Boy Scout when I was young, but it's a great leadership organization, a great leadership exercise for you folks to actually be here and take part in some of these civic involvement. So feel free, even after this, to come here anytime you'd like. We would love to see more community involvement from everyone. So, and then congratulations on all the retirees again, for this month. So enjoy your time. And of course, thank you for Homes for the generous donation. So.
I'll echo what both of them said. I was a Brownie and a Girl Scout, and it was nice to see kids here. So thank you for coming. Really appreciate it.
And as a new board member, I appreciate the information that you've provided to give us things to think about, consider, look into, so that we can discuss this, you know, with education and make an informed decision and how we can help you guys and help, you know, make the right decisions for the board and for you guys. I also want to thank Weaver Homes. That was a very generous donation that will help the school district here. And then I see Julia logged off, but that is something that I do want to look into, and I think I'll discuss with Mr. Knapp as well. Yeah, I'd like to see that Supreme Court case.
Her concerns are, her personal concerns, but we'll address that.
I just want you guys to know that we hear you and we're doing our best. So.
Don't forget that this weekend is the Marsden High School's play, the Drowsy Chapter. I got to attend the Centennial Talent Show, which was a great time. So thanks to all the parents who helped make that event successful. You guys did such a great job sitting through this. I know it's boring. My sons are your age and they would have been crying with boredom. So what would we expect from Boy Scouts though? Nothing less. Your excellent behavior shows what a great job you're doing. And I know we're not allowed to discuss the policy, but just a simple statement that I think is important for us all to remember moving forward is we, the school district, don't own these buildings. These buildings, the facilities, they're paid for by taxpayer dollars, and these are for the community to be utilizing.
Well, thank you all for attending. The message was heard, I think, for everybody. It is nice to see all the kids. Thanks to the teachers that stayed at middle school last week for the open house. Good luck to the students and the staff that participated in the play this coming week. And thank Weaver Homes for their generous donation.
I'd like to congratulate Mrs. Heinrichsen. She was named inaugural Allegheny County Inland Unit Fellow. She's one of 17 teachers that was selected for that. So congratulations to her. Also to offer my congratulations to students that were recently selected for the PNEA District Jazz Band and the Region Orchestra. We had a senior, Evan Rowehouse, who was actually selected for both. Boys and girls basketball teams made playoffs this year. Congratulations to both of them. And also I'd like to offer my congratulations to the Pine Ridge and Mars Air Force Junior ROTC drill team in a competition over this past weekend at Parkersburg, and they took first place overall. Good luck to those in the musical this weekend too.
I was fortunate to help the Centennial Talent Show, and those 5th and 6th graders have a lot of talent, and I look forward to seeing them as they get older and seeing if they join the band or their musicals, and I really enjoyed that. I look forward to this weekend going to the musical, and I'd like to thank the scouts here tonight. Full disclosure, I was a scout, my daughter was a scout, my son was in PAC 413 for a couple years, and my husband was also a den leader. So I appreciate what you do for the community, and everything that you said was heard, and we'll discuss it next week. So thanks for coming.
And thank you for the treasurer's point of view, because I think that really helps put into perspective what dollar amount and the impact that it has. That was really good information.
All right, thank you. I will say this is why we open it up to the public, so we can actually have people in person, and it's really nice to see the groups come in and people come in. So I like this much better than the Zoom. So, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Megan second.
Kevin, second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Have a great week.
Thank you all.